Hi, everybody. Been a minute. I just wanted to pop on here for a second and talk about this anticipated solar storm from the X-flare that we got on July 2nd that didn't actually didn't actually affect our planet. And this happens sometimes for a couple reasons, but I did want to talk a little bit about the moon cycle and how that is geo-effective in this regard, right? It kind of reflects it back. The atmosphere is a birefringent material. A big, bright, glowing orb. Right? It reflects the, so the moon, the full moon was on July 3rd. The impact of the solar flare, the large solar flare, came at us in, really quick, right? We get the radio blackout immediately. We had velocity of 379 kilometers a second. Now, this morning we got a radio blackout with ionic particles coming at us at like 568. I'd have to look at that, but I mean, this speed isn't necessarily that fast, right? We've had larger radio emissions, and then we have this big X flare, and part of the reason is because just like the moon reflects the sun's light back to us, well, it also reflects those radio emissions. That it reflects the flares away from us when it's in full shine, right? It's also illuminating our own atmosphere, causing a reflective bounce back. Right? The reflected light filled the atmosphere and changed the trajectory of the incoming light and diffused it. Right? So we're kind of protected from that. We've kind of diverted that impact away from ourselves. And then there's like the CME that's coming at us, but it didn't actually ever come because that line was in the reflection was reverberated elsewhere, right? We've already kind of digested that. And I know that sounds kind of strange, right? It might sound kind of strange, but it's part of the cycle. It's part of how it all works. Sure, it seems simple, but so does a triangle, and we can complicate the shit out of a triangle. And we're going to refer to the book Lagrange, right? And TRL and IRL, that's the three rays of life. The three rays of light in real life, right? And so like the Druids knew that there were three rays of light, right? That came, they were the sun, the moon, and the earth, right? And together they form the Triband rays. And they express to us why this is occurring. And so I just wanted to kind of read it a little bit here. The three rays of light, the ancient belief, the structure incorporated the version of the life force energy. In Eastern philosophies, they refer to this as the chi or the prana. The Druids call this life force the Nufra, and it's a kind of like the Jedi force, right? The Nufra is very important. They say it is the energetic form of Sorcerer Awan, which is the life force, right? So this is energy, right? Electric, ionic, magnetic, subparticles, however you want to break it down, anything of that life force, energetic force, that's the Nufra, right? And so the three rays of light are talking about the three ways of receiving energy, wisdom, and inspiration, because it's a physical, in this sense, in the way that the Druids were looking at it, it's a physical and a spiritual matter, right? So and an intellectual matter as well. So it is important because the main form of life energy, Nufra, is incorporated to the whole of the philosophy. The three rays of light are invoking and evoking this energy force, and the two together make the Triband. The description of this function is reminiscent of the descriptions of electron avalanching, but that's just one of the many functions that can be described by this relative notion. On the solar quarters, when the sun rises, when the sun shines from the eastern horizon, the shadows are cast on the ground, southwest at midwinter, northeast at midsummer, and due east at spring and fall. And they have elemental tables for this, right? So the threefold elemental path is the source of life, which is the Nufra, the Guyar, which is the source of change, motion, and growth, and the Kalas, the source of form, differentiation, manifestation, and stability. And these convert into the modern understanding, respectively, as energy, liquid, and solid, right? It's the plasma, charged material, right? So each has a moon phase and a season associated with it. And Nufra is the full moon and the summer. Well, that was like the full moon of midsummer we just had, right? And the Guyar is the half moon, the spring and the fall, and the Kalas is the new moon in the winter. And these cycles are to be known and affiliated with the three rays of light, right? So during the new moon cycle, no solar energy is reflected via the moon. And the main types of growth that happen within the plant structures are underground. We focus on planting seeds and patience for sleeping processes that happen in the dark, like root healing. The winter is dark. The whole of the season is seen as the dark phase of growth. But during the full moon, when the solar energy is reflected back from the full face of the moon, we focus on above ground happenings within the plant structure, including pruning upward shoots. Harvesting is at best at full peak of the full moon, when the water within the plant has pulled the maximum amount of essence, flavonoids, terpenes, nutrients, etc. So the full moon is associated with the summer, since this is the light growth of the year, right? So it's interesting, too, one more thing. These specific connotations to the moon cycle are profound for other reasons. During the new moon phase, the moon is always in the upstream portion of the moon's magnetosphere, facing the sun. And during the full moon, the moon is in the downstream portion of the tail of the magnetosphere. Okay, and at the first quarter, it is to the dusk side of the Earth. At the last quarter, it faces the dawn side of the magnetosphere. All right? And as I hold that thought, but what's happening is during the full moon, since it's in the downward stream of the magnetosphere, reflecting fully back, when we get hit with a flare or with the CME charge, right? It's disbanded. It's reflected back, and so it's these currents. Oh wait, I'm pulling the wrong one. Well, now I'm going to start in the book. It starts talking about the three rays of light and how they kind of can convert into the Holy Grail. And that's, if we're going to talk about ancient wisdom, we have to converge. There has to be a constant convergence between science and spirituality, right? Because they didn't disconnect the two. So that must be taken into account when looking at things like this. That's why I focus on both astrology and astronomy, and I've separated it for people to come to at their comfort level, right? If you want to do the spiritual stuff, come to tarot gazing. If you want to do the scientific stuff, we do it over here. But we do discuss both here, because if we're talking about an ancient understanding into a modern term, we have to incorporate both, because they didn't separate it. So when we're talking about solar flares coming at the Nufra, coming at the Earth, that mixing with the cycles of the Earth, full on summer, longest day of the year, right? With the full on moon, brightest moon, super moon, right? In perigee. And then this flare comes toward our planet, you bet your butt it's getting reflected back. All right. So keep that in mind, and don't be disappointed when they tell you that 17 states are going to be seeing going to be seeing auroras, and that doesn't pan out. Always ask yourself a few things, right? What is the moon cycle? What is the time of year? And what was the angle of the hit? And then you can kind of determine with a little bit more clarity what will be visible, what won't be visible, and where it will be visible, if at all, right? And that also affects our radio frequencies, our internet, our GPS, and the like, right? So emergency responders, all of those people depend on these kinds of things. This isn't just new age, druidic, old school woo-woo. This is real scientific things that affect our everyday lives in the real modern sense of things. And if we can understand them better by looking at how we've previously understood them, we're going to gain a lot from that. So thanks for hanging out with me for a few minutes. Really missed you guys. Hope you're all doing well. Come back and see me again next time. Bye. Good job, kid. I think you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.